Hi everyone, my name is Hadi Faiborzi and I'm a lecturer in international business in the strategy and marketing department. So in this video, I want to quickly talk about what is a workshop, what is a typical workshop that we teach in um, as part of your course here. And I also want to talk about a specific workshop which I convene in the spring semester, and it would be only either spring or summer for next year, which is called Strategic Entrepreneurship. The code for that module is 721N1. And I will quickly talk a little bit about what we do in strategic entrepreneurship and what it includes. So let's have a look at this PowerPoint. Okay, so let's see what strategic entrepreneurship is. So first of all, 721M1 is a module which is currently and formerly was named International Entrepreneurship, and we are in the process of revising it. So I think by the time you guys can take this module, it would come with a different name, but either way, the contents would all be new, and this is the format that I will cover in this presentation that you're going to see in that workshop. So let's quickly talk about what is a workshop and why do we have workshops in Sussex. So we kind of believe that learning is a multi-dimensional process. So it's not a practice of inducing knowledge. So in other words, traditionally when we go to school and when we, for example, we have mathematics, we have a teacher who knows something, who has some knowledge about a concept, and we as students are people who don't know, and knowledge is transferred from the mind of the teacher to the mind of the novice learners, if you will. So what we believe in a modern and in a more appropriate process of learning is that rather than having one teacher in the know transferring knowledge to the minds of students who don't know anything about the concept, being transformed to an environment where knowledge is co-created, where everybody participates in the whole process of knowledge building, and a shared understanding and a shared knowledge is created out of those interactions. And that's basically what we're going to do in workshops. So in a workshop, the aim is not to teach a concept and then you go home and study it, and then in the end of the term you come back and be tested on it. Instead, our focus and aim is to talk about real world problems. We are business students here, and we want to talk about real world businesses with real and important and challenging dilemmas and questions and challenges. And we want to interact and talk with each other and think together and try to co-create that knowledge and try to understand how businesses deal with this problem. So in other words, the business world is very complex and the problems are usually not as straightforward. It's very much different from a mathematical or physical problem, like for example, what is 2 by 2? There is no 2 by 2 questions in business, and there is no correct answer for that. So we want to talk about these challenges. There is no one complete answer. So each of us comes with an understanding, and we work together to come to a shared understanding. So it's like solving a puzzle together, so where each of us is holding part of the knowledge and we put together. And in this way, the role of the convener or the professor in the class becomes the role of a facilitator to help these interactions, to help this, knowledge building activity that we do as a group. So that's the concept of a workshop. So it's not, purely focused on lectures and then you come and do exams. So with that, let's talk about a strategic entrepreneurship, this specific module that I convene. Let's see what that includes. So if I want to explain a strategy and entrepreneurship, each of them would be 2 or 3 modules for themselves. But I just want to give you one quick idea about what each of these concepts broadly includes. A strategy is more about a proper positioning, having an advantage in the market. So there are many competitors in the business world. The strategy is about finding your right position and having an advantage against your competitors. That's the core of a strategy. That's the core of a strategic management. An example is like, for example, if you are a pizza shop and you have, you have one great recipe and you can, that gives you an advantage over all the other pizza shops that are around town. Entrepreneurship, on the other hand, is all about opportunities. It's all about creating opportunities and inventing and innovation and creating new ways of doing business. An example is Apple Watch. There used to be no Apple Watches like 6 years ago, but then they thought that this is a good market, they want to enter, so they created Apple Watch. It's an invention. It's a new innovation that is created by Apple company, and then of course that creates all sorts of opportunities. Entrepreneurship is about creating opportunities, or finding opportunities that exist out there and exploiting them. The key idea in a strategic entrepreneurship is that both of these actions, being strategic, having a good position in the market, or being entrepreneurial, creating new things, creating new opportunities, are good, but they're not enough on their own. So the idea is that, for example, if you're very strategic, like for example, if you, for example, have a very good competitive advantage against your competitors. For example, think about Nokia, what it was like 10 years ago. It used to be that when people talked about a mobile phone or a cell phone, everybody would quickly think about a Nokia. There was no talk of Apple. There was no talk of Samsung or LG or other less known brands. It was all Nokia and a few other things, and which of course you don't hear anymore, or maybe you don't even remember. But then what happened is that they were not entrepreneurial enough. They did not create new advantages. They did not create new opportunities, and as a result, their market went down and down. And on the other hand, Apple was innovative. They introduced the iPhone, they introduced new versions of the iPhone, and the whole idea of smartphones and apps and everything that are quite familiar to all of us today, and that completely robbed the market, and they completely pushed Nokia out of the market and then become that. So in other words, Nokia was strategic. They had a competitive advantage, but they were not entrepreneurial enough, and as a result, they went down. On the other hand, you could be very innovative and actually create a great opportunity, but not be strategic enough. An example of that is this company Segway. I doubt if any of you have used a Segway or have even heard of them, but of course you have seen many likes of it. So it used to be that Segway was created this product back in like 2001, and it was great. It was a new opportunity. It was the talk of the town, and everybody was talking about them, and it was like they had created something that would transform the way people move. So people would soon forget walking, but they failed. The most important reason for them is that for that failure is that they were not strategic enough. They priced it way too high. They priced it $5,000 or so at the start, and then they targeted it to very wrong environments. They did not distribute it very well around the world, and as a result, many people simply just started, okay, this is just a luxury, just a fancy thing, and I just don't need that. I don't want to spend that much money. But of course, the opportunity was there. Now you see a lot of hoverboard and all sorts of products similar to this, but they are priced better, they are targeted better, they have learned from that failure to create something that does not have that problem. So the idea in a strategic entrepreneurship is that you want to have both of these. You want to be at the right time, at the right moment, having positioned yourself with a good advantage in the market, and also you want to create new opportunities. So in other words, a strategic entrepreneurship, we define it as the efforts of a firm to combine effective opportunity seeking behavior, that means entrepreneurship, creating new opportunities, with effective advantage seeking behavior, that is strategic management. So you want to be creative, you want to create new opportunities, but you also want to be strategic. You want to exploit that. You want to position yourself and define a good competitive advantage for that. If you are able to do that, it would be a beauty like this. Score, right? So everybody is positioned in the right place and they are creative, they create an opportunity and they score. So in terms of the contents of this module of strategic entrepreneurship, we want to cover content from different modules. Obviously, the main two aspects are strategic management and entrepreneurship. So from strategic management, we're going to talk about industry dynamism, how industries go up and down, and talk about industry analysis and positioning yourself in the industry. We're going to talk about competition a lot, how competitive advantage is created, how companies position themselves in the market and create an advantage for themselves. We're going to talk a lot about different case studies and how companies create that, or how they analyze an industry and position themselves in the industry and move around that industry. We're going to talk about dynamic capabilities, having the capabilities that change with changing environments, and that will take us to entrepreneurship. Because entrepreneurship is all about opportunity, it's all about sensing and seizing and transforming new opportunities. We're going to talk about entrepreneurial mindset, talk about entrepreneurs, talk about how they think, what they believe, how they find these opportunities, and how they think about exploiting it. And of course, on top of these contents from the two aspects of the main aspects of the core of the module, which is strategy and entrepreneurship, we're going to talk about a little bit about international business, because that's something that is a really valuable strategic move in this for both small and large firms. We're going to talk a little bit about the international context, talk about why firms internationalize, how they create competitive advantage in an international market, and so on and so forth. So the main focus in terms of content is on strategy and entrepreneurship. We want to combine these and see what we can get out of it, and then try to see what a strategically entrepreneurial firm means and how they decide and act. In terms of delivery, it would be a blended delivery mode. That means it would be a combination of offline and online delivery. It really depends on how the situation evolves, but we are prepared for doing this face to face or online. At any rate, however we do it, the main delivery mode would consist of two main parts. It would be concepts through concepts review videos, which are recorded offline and are posted. They're like 15 minutes videos. I will explain a little bit about them. And then the main part of the classes and sessions that we have would be application of concepts. So it would be through interactions in class and so on. So in terms of the concepts, we will have concepts review videos. So I will record many 15-minute videos which I talk about the concepts, the main things, like, for example, what is the resource-based view of the firm, or how do you do industry analysis, maybe even do Porter's analysis, maybe the main concepts that you need to understand and better interact in class. So these are not something that you have to go over. So for example, if you feel confident that you're comfortable with the resource-based view, or you have had other modules that have covered a specific concept, you don't really need to watch that, or maybe you can just play it on fast forward and then just as a recap. But if you don't know a concept, you can obviously watch that video or even seek further material that will be introduced. So that's how the concepts would be covered. There would be no lectures in the sessions. So our sessions, when we come to the class, either face-to-face or online, there would be no contents delivered there. There would be no lectures, you sitting, I talking to you. What we do in class is we're going to have a lot of fun talking about examples and case studies and talking about real world. We want to apply those concepts and we want to do a lot of activities. So we will have a review and application part, which would be the main part of the interactive class, where we would break into groups. We would discuss different challenges. We would talk about a case study, a real world example. We will have activities. We will have games. For example, we have a game on competition, which is really fun, and we play as groups. We will have we will have simulations. We will have different activities which we do in groups. Again, it could be face-to-face or online. It really depends on the situation, but we are prepared for both. And then after that, we're going to go and work on a case study. These case studies are professionally written case studies by scholars on real-world companies. So they take a company, they look at one specific challenge, which is, of course, in our case, would be either about their strategy or entrepreneurship or both. And we as a class will think together, talk about them, and try to answer questions and solve those challenges. So it would be a lot of discussions and a lot of interactions in this workshop. And that's how the workshop works. It really depends on your activity in class, and you are a very, very important part of the whole workshop. You are a very important part of the process of creating knowledge. So as I said, it would have an application-based focus. So the case studies and the examples that we cover are a core of our discussions and are a core of this whole module. Overall, we will have about 10 intensive case studies which are reviewed and discussed in classes. This will give you a lot of exposure to different examples and different challenges and how managers try to solve their problems. In terms of assessments, there would be no such thing as like an exam where you, for example, answer a question like explain the resource-based view of the firm or explain what is entrepreneurship. where you go and read and memorize some concepts and then deliver it there, or multiple choice or anything like that. It would be half of that would be group work. It's an essay that you work on a real company as a group and deliver. It's a very good experiment for you to work together on real world problems and trying to apply the concepts. And then the second 50% would come from a takeaway paper, which is like you would have 24 hours to answer questions uh, about a real world case. So in other words, you read a real world case study and you think about some questions that are designed, and then you try to answer. Again, the questions are not concept questions, they are application questions. For example, what strategy do you recommend for them, or how do you think they should respond to this challenge, and so on. Okay, so if you wanted to see one example activity that we do in class, I suggest that this PowerPoint would be posted, and you can click on this. There is this video on this page, which is actually a a session from Shark Tank. uh, there is this new entrepreneurial company. They present themselves to these sharks, to these judges. And one of the activities that we do in class is that, the judges, for example, give them many different suggestions. One of them wants to, for example, give them 200K, the other wants 20%, somebody wants royalty, somebody wants something else. And then we break out into groups and talk about what strategy do you think is best for them. And then there would be all sorts of different questions, and everybody has to come up with good answers and good discussions about why they believe either of these options are best for them. So this is just a quick example of how we do one little activity in class. So I hope this gives you an idea about this workshop, about how workshops are delivered, and specifically about a strategic entrepreneurship. And I hope I can see you all next semester on strategic entrepreneurship. Thank you and have a good day.